steps in mind, you're ready to make a great first impression. Go out there and introduce yourself with confidence. Have you ever wondered how to make a great first impression? Well, you're not alone. It's a universal question that transcends cultures and generations. First impressions are pivotal. They're like the cover of a book, inviting people to delve deeper. When we meet someone for the first time, our brains are hardwired to judge quickly. And this judgment, rightly or wrongly, can set the tone for the entire interaction. Think about it. When you introduce yourself to someone, you're not just sharing your name, you're presenting your personality, your character, your essence. A good introduction can spark interest, foster connections, and even open doors to opportunities. Remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. That's why it's crucial to get it right the first time. Now that we understand the importance of first impressions, let's delve into the steps to make a memorable introduction. Every great introduction follows a simple yet effective blueprint. It's like building a house. You need a solid foundation, the right materials, and a little bit of finesse to make it stand out. The same principles apply when introducing yourself. So, what's this blueprint? It's a three-part process that's easy to remember and even easier to implement. First, you state your name clearly and confidently. Second, you share something about yourself that's interesting or relevant to the situation. And third, you create a connection with the person you're meeting. Let's start with your name. It's the title of your personal story, the word that people will use to identify you in their minds. So, say it like you mean it. Pronounce it clearly and confidently. It's not just about making sure they hear it correctly. It's about setting the tone for the rest of the conversation. Your name is your first impression, so make it count. Next, share something about yourself. Now, this isn't the time to recite your resume or list your life achievements. Instead, think of something that's relevant to the situation, or something unique that sets you apart. Maybe you're a whiz at crossword puzzles, or you have an uncanny ability to remember song lyrics. These little tidbits help paint a picture of who you are and give people a glimpse into your personality. Lastly, create a connection. This is where you bridge the gap between you and the person you're meeting. Find a common interest, ask a thoughtful question, or simply express your excitement about the meeting. It's all about showing genuine interest and creating a positive, memorable interaction. That's the basic blueprint. Seems simple, right? But let's dig deeper into each step. Just like building a house, it's the attention to detail and the personal touches that make the difference between a forgettable introduction and one that truly stands out. So, let's roll up our sleeves and start building. The first step in the blueprint is stating your name clearly. Let's dive into that. Your name is more than a mere label. It's the banner under which you present yourself to the world. It's your personal brand, your calling card. So when you say it, do it with confidence, like it's a headline on a marquee. Imagine you're at a networking event. You extend your hand for a handshake and introduce yourself. Your voice barely a whisper, your name lost in a sea of sound. Now, imagine the opposite. You meet someone's gaze, your hand meets theirs, and you state your name loud and clear. The difference is palpable, isn't it? Now, how can we make your name more memorable? One way is to use a mnemonic. If your name is unusual or difficult to pronounce, a mnemonic can be a simple, fun way for others to remember it. For example, if your name is Hermione, you might say Hermione, like the character from Harry Potter. Another way is to associate your name with an interesting story. This not only helps others remember your name, but it also gives them a snippet of who you are, adding a layer of depth to your introduction. For instance, I'm Noah, like the man who built the ark. Remember, your name is your identity, make it count. The next step is to share something about yourself. Now, this isn't about rattling off your resume or reciting your life story. It's about sharing a piece of yourself that's interesting, unique, or even quirky. This is the key to making you more memorable. Consider this. When you meet someone for the first time, what makes them stick in your mind? Is it their job title or where they went to school? Not likely. More often than not, it's that intriguing tidbit they shared about their love for salsa dancing, their penchant for collecting vintage comic books, or the time they spent a summer backpacking across Europe. This is your chance to share something similar. Maybe you have a fascinating hobby, like beekeeping or baking the perfect sourdough loaf. Or perhaps you've had an unusual experience, like living in a foreign country or meeting a celebrity. Don't be afraid to share something that shows your passion or your individuality. But remember, it's not just about being different, it's about being authentic. The goal here is not to impress others, but to showcase a slice of your personality that invites others to want to know more about you. And here's the best part. When you share something interesting about yourself, you're not only making yourself more memorable, you're also opening the door for further conversation. You're inviting others to engage with you, to ask questions, and to share their own stories. Sharing something interesting about yourself builds intrigue and encourages further conversation. The final step in our blueprint is creating a connection. This is the golden thread that weaves your introduction into a memorable interaction. You see, connections are not just about speaking, but also about listening. It's about finding common ground or expressing genuine interest in the other person. You could share experiences, discuss mutual interests, or even express curiosity about their work or hobbies. Remember, people love to feel heard and understood. So, when they're talking, engage in active listening. Show that you're interested in what they have to say. Respond effectively by adding to the conversation, asking insightful questions, or offering thoughtful comments. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach though. It's about being attuned to the person in front of you, understanding their cues, and responding accordingly. It's about creating a meaningful dialogue, not a monologue. And remember, it's not about impressing them, but about expressing genuine interest in them. Creating a connection is the key to leaving a lasting impression. Let's quickly recap the steps to a great self-introduction. We began by discussing the power of first impressions. Remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, so make it count. Next, we delved into the introduction blueprint, a 3-step process to ensure you make a memorable introduction. The first step is to say your name like it's worth remembering. Make it clear, make it strong, and make it memorable. The second step is to share something interesting about yourself. This doesn't have to be anything grandiose, just something that sets you apart and makes you unique. Finally, we talked about creating a connection. This is an opportunity to find common ground with the other person and build a rapport. It's all about making the other person feel comfortable and interested in knowing more about you. With these steps in mind, you're ready to make a great first impression. Go out there and introduce yourself with confidence.